Our onions have been cooking for about 45 minutes and they're not done yet. They're looking really good, but they've got a little ways to go. But I wanted to show you something really important. So what I mentioned earlier about if they start to stick to the bottom of the pan and it looks like they might burn, you just pour a little water on and you scrape those little bits up and then mix them into the ovens. And that's what's happening now. And I wanted to show you what that looks like. So if you look here, you'll see there's like really good browning here. And then there's some bits where it looks like it might be starting to brown. So we're going to add a little bit of water. It won't sizzle because it's over low heat. And we're just gonna add, like that was not even like a half teaspoon of water. We're gonna kind of move that around the bottom of the pan and scrape up the brown bits. And they're just gonna get scooped into the rest of the onions. Got another little bit down here. I'm going to get off because that's looking a little dark. Literally just a little drop there. We do not want to introduce a lot of water to these, right? Because it'll just make them soggy and gross. And like that, all that water has to cook off before it starts browning again. But what we're trying to do is get off these bits that look like they're going to brown. Another thing you can do is you can actually reduce your heat even more. They'll take longer to cook. They'll still do exactly what you want them to do. So if you turn your heat down to just like a whisper of a flame and just let them sit there for like an hour or two and stir them every like 15, 20, 30 minutes just to make sure they're not burning, they will do exactly what you want them to do without any real risk of burning. If you are in a hurry, you can turn them up a little bit. You'll get more of this here where you're finding like that they're sticking and you need to add water. It's a little bit more hands-on with a higher heat. But you'll notice now there is really nothing on the bottom of this pan. No more sticky bits that are going to burn. And it's looking great. So we're going to return this to a low heat for another however long, and then we'll take a look when it's done. Our onions are done. They've been at it for about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes on really low heat. I kind of adjusted the heat here and there because I wanted to hurry them up a little bit, and because I turned up the heat just a hair. Like when I say turn it up, I turned it up to like medium low, like 2 instead of 1. Like I did not turn them up to like 5 or 6. And then I watched them a little bit more closely because once the heat goes up even that much, it actually increases the chance of them sticking a little bit more and burning. So you want to pay more attention if you turn up the heat to hurry them up. And look what we've got here. This is essentially like onion jam. Like it might not look pretty, but it's delicious. And when I smell them, oh my God, I get such a complex like aroma. I get sweetness. I get like a butterscotch. I get like chocolate and coffee almost, like that little touch of like roasted coffee. It's like a little bit smoky. I get almost a little peppery, which is interesting. And now we're gonna taste them and see how they go. They're not very hot because they've been in a really low pan, really low heat. Those are really good. They're super sweet. They're like a little sticky sweet almost. And there's no added sugar to these. This is only the sugar that's in the onions. They taste like, oh, they're good. They're sweet, but not a one-note sweet. They're a little smoky, little vegetal green. Like they almost taste like a little hint of like very sweet carrot. Like there's a little tiny bit of onion flavor, but almost nothing. Like they don't taste like onions, right? Even though I'm eating straight up onions with nothing else. They taste perfect. They're not salted, so they're just, you know, kind of sweet and not salty. The other reason, you know, part of the reason we didn't salt them is we didn't want that to like affect the cooking. Like we want them to kind of like cook down slowly in their own time. But the other reason we don't want to add salt to them is because you don't know what you're going to be using these on. I mean, you might be cooking them for a specific purpose. But if you're just like cooking onions ahead of time, like I do, like I'll just like throw 5 or 6 onions in the pan, cook it down, and then throw them in the fridge for, you know, a couple weeks. And they'll just sit there and they'll, you know, I'll use them kind of here and there for different stuff. And if I were to salt them, that would potentially limit what I can use them for, because if I'm adding them to a salty dish that I don't want to add more salt to, if I salt these, like adding them to my already salty dish might make it too salty. So having these not seasoned really increases my flexibility. So if I have like a salty soup that I kind of want to cut back the saltiness a little bit with a garnish, you know, like a potato leek soup or a French onion soup, like I can take like a spoonful of these, put them on top, kind of mix it in a little bit. That sweetness will help temper the saltiness in the other dish without adding to it. Like I could put these on a burger, you know, I can feed them to somebody who maybe doesn't like a lot of salt. I could use them for pretty much everything. And not having them unsalted really allows me to use them for a lot more. So that's the other reason that we don't salt them. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put these in a little container. We're gonna throw them in the fridge and maybe I'll throw them on a sandwich. Actually, I think we're gonna be having burgers for dinner, so I might actually throw these on a burger.